Good evening. I'm Carol Hirschfeld. Welcome to the 1998 season of Inside New Zealand. Tonight, in a special premiere, we take to the air with 7 young pilots in the sleek Air Mackie jet. We're alongside them as they undergo a rigorous training course to become fully fledged military pilots and earn their coveted wings insignia. They're highly trained and competitive. A single mistake at any time could suddenly end their dreams to be a top gun in the New Zealand Air Force. Hang on tight as we go behind the scenes from the first day of their jet training phase.
Today the Air Force lines up the survivors, a group of 7 students all inspired by a recurring dream, winning their wings. Around the world, the Wings badge is attached to the coveted rank of a military pilot, a sign that you've earned the right to the toughest jobs in the flying world. Nearly half the candidates who sign up for pilot training in the New Zealand Air Force don't get this far. The click of a shutter will launch 7 who have into the final phase of their course. Today they start basic jet training on the Mackie. It's a 4-month journey into heaven and hell as they chase their own set of wings. At least one of them will be chopped between now and graduation. While the first task is to pass the course, the ultimate goal for most of these students is to become fighter pilots. New Zealand has never awarded that role to a woman. The official term is a strike pilot, but fighter pilots are usually called NUCs.
Well, look at camera lands, that's it, arms folded, staunch as I like to call it. That's it, nice and relaxed, nice and easy. 3, 2, 1, and...
Climbing into one of these sleek Air Mackie training jets is the reward for 15 months of struggle. First, it means fighting your way into the Air Force ahead of hundreds of other candidates who also want to fly one. The next hurdles en route to flying the Mackie are the recruit course, a testing time in the wilderness on survival exercises, then officer training. Then for 8 months, the new pilot officers learn to fly a small propeller-driven plane known as the air trainer, with a Mackie hangar right next door. Up to 50% of candidates drop out before they even get to sit in one. Today is the stuff of dreams. The first day, a new training course climbs into the hot seat. The first act of the jet phase is to pair pilots with their instructors. A brutally honest assessment of the students' previous work is needed to choose an instructor who can build on their weaknesses. An A is not the highest grade here. It simply stands for average.
We'll start through Adrian Barber, Arnie. Flying, A minus for his personal qualities. He's quiet. We need to get him become more assertive. We need, I think, a strong instructor to get there.
Oh, I decided when I was in about Form 2 that I wanted to be a strike pilot. As soon as I was old enough, which was in 7th Form, joined the Air Force, and I was accepted. And got my letter of acceptance before 7th Form exams. So put barely any effort into those, knowing that they didn't matter at all.
Okay, Kane Chapman, Cobber. He's a struggler as well. Flying ability's not too good. PQA's below average as well. It's tending to coast and just meet the minimum standard at the moment. So if we can get him in there, pushing him hard, and I think I'll work him hard on that one.
We had a couple of pilots, American pilots, come and stay at our house, and I just got the impression these guys were, you know, they were the bee's knees. They're fantastic, and I wanted to be like them.
Quinton Meads, Q, he's above average all round. The guy's confident, he's pretty good. So on that, Jimmy, we'll give you Q, and Q wants to go transport. All right, so you may be able to change his opinion. No, that's good.
Family friend sat me down and said, right, fill out these forms, and I filled them out under sort of much protest of, no, there's no way I'll ever get in, sort of thing. You hear all the horror stories of thousands of people joining up and sort of only one getting accepted.
Anthony Budd. Buddy, flying's average, personal qualities A+. Initiative is a bit low, and he's going to lack capacity at times. Need an instructor with a bit of lateral thinking.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
What's this volunteer sitch? I saw you not looking at me before.
Saw Top Gun came out, you know, and that fascinated me. And then I started looking into it more, and yeah, just like flying. Fuck, that's incredible.
Blair Keane, Stumpy. Average, he's a hard worker. So we'll give you to him. He wants to be a nuck as well. It's unfortunate, but that's life.
The parents sort of, you know, were pushing towards that. You know, the old adage, you can do whatever you want to do as long as you put your mind to it. And in their mindsets, so I think that sort of was, you know, be a doctor, be a lawyer.
Anthony Barr, Ant, he's a struggler all round, both flying and his personal qualities as well. So we need to work this boy hard. So one that improves his qualities and flying wise, but also to realise that he's not as good as he actually thinks he is as well. So thought about Al for him.
I was on a train, and I thought, oh, that's very cool, you know, getting to see the countryside. And then I thought, well, why not just not see New Zealand, have a look at other countries, and how do you do that? And I thought, being a flight steward, nah, that's not that much fun. May as well sit up the front.
Megan Ehrlich, she's A+ all round, so she's above average student. She's pretty confident. She wants to become a nuck, and with that, I think that we'll give her to you, Flu. Happy with that? Just fine.
I was only 9, I was sort of just being inquisitive, I guess, and decided that pilot was the best because you sit up the front and you're driving, you're in charge of everything. And so from then on, I always thought it was pretty cool. Oh, well, when I was on hold, I sort of looked at the jet going past because I was at Ohakea. I wasn't on the squadron like all the rest of mine, so I was just watching jets go backwards and forwards all the time, and got into a bit, had one backseat ride, and that was cool, but it's not quite the same as flying it yourself, I guess, and now it's much closer.
Oh yeah, pretty excited. It's I haven't been in the Mackie before at all, so yeah, should be good. Could be a lot faster, so getting used to more G and speed, so should be good fun.
For most Air Force pilots, your first real taste of the jet stream is the familiarisation flight. It's the one and only time you can sit in the back seat and watch.
Normally what we do is walking out to the aircraft, just have a look around and make sure it's sitting square, there's no obvious pools of fluid or anything underneath it, and it basically looks good to go.
After today, there are 60 flights to graduation, and every mistake is noted and discussed until the winners stand on parade to be given their wings.
With a good hold point here.
Every aspect of the Mackie cockpit is unfamiliar territory. It's so small, pilots often refer to strapping on a jet. The helmet comes with an oxygen mask, and you'll wear a G-suit for the first time. It pumps up to stop all the blood draining out of your head during a turn.
Comfy? Sweet, see you in a minute.
The jet phase of this Wings course starts with a vengeance on a day hardly fit for the birds. To tame the Mackie, you have to relearn aerobatic, instrument flying and navigation skills at speeds up to 3 times faster than you've ever experienced in a jet that will pull 7G in a turn. That's 7 times the force of gravity. The skies around the Ohakea base near Palmerston North include safe zones designated for military use. One of them is the unpopulated coastal low-flying area. It's familiar territory for the students, and lousy weather almost a norm. But Buddy's never seen the countryside go by so quickly.
This is beautiful, my God.
It's nice and smooth, eh?
Yes.
That's your first ride in a jet?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Good on you. As we descend down, it's going to get quite a bit more bumpy.
Roger.
Nothing really to worry about.
No worries.
If you're not feeling happy with it, just give me a yell.
Roger.
Always descend in via turn. It helps clear a flight path. And there are the bumps. Just like riding a speedboat really over a sort of a rough water. And even though it's turbulent, I prefer this much more to the air training turbulence.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, here we are at about 250 feet, and this is what you'll be doing your nav at.
Oh, excellent.
It's maybe a little bit lower than 250 there.
Yeehaw.
And yeah, 250 feet and 300 knots is about what you'll be doing.
Roger. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Pretty neat, eh?
Oh, jeez.
And this is about 70 odd feet.
Oh, my God. Fantastic.
Pretty sad to say.
Oh, my God. I don't think I'll recover from this for a few days. Yes.
In another Mackie, Megan is also rocking down the coast with her instructor.
Having fun on the back, mate.
Oh, this is great. Excellent.
Yeah, you get a bit of feeling of speed when you're being low, when you're going at speed, that's for sure. Certainly notice the increase in turbulence when you get over the little land.
Leaving the coast, Flew and Megan head for the aerobatics area. She knows the manoeuvres already, but this time Megan's controlling an aircraft travelling at nearly twice the speed she's flown before today.
Just call 5G, just to have a go at it. No worries in the back?
No, good.
What do you reckon?
Oh.
You have control?
No, control.
Out there. Now look for 270 knots and ease to 4G. Positive leave it on. There we go. Ease it on. There it is. Beautiful. Got them down at about 5,000, so all we're doing is taking to 4G, looking for about 5,000 at the base. And 260 knots nicely. No stress for you already.
Excellent. Excellent.
Fantastic.
We went out there for low flying, down to 50 feet, low flying area. Fantastic.
It's so smooth. It's like real flying, like, you know, like you actually feel like you're like just a bird just cruising. It's nice and smooth. Absolutely great.
On a high, the blood's still racing, the heart's still pounding. I mean, before I even got out there, you know, the adrenaline's already starting to get in. And when you're out there, it's just after about probably half an hour, I probably almost collapsed, exhausted probably, but yeah, it's just incredible. Can't beat it.
That's fantastic. It's awesome.
Ear infections are the ailment that pilots fear the most. So while the other 6 were having a good time, Stumpy went to see the medics.
Had a look at my ears, got me to Valsalva, and this air would clear, but I could just feel it bubbling on the eardrum there. And she goes, "So how are you feeling?" I was like, "Fine."
Oh, fantastic.
I'm good to go. Yes. When you're flying, I'm walking in about 10 minutes, and she was like, "Okay, I'll wait for the nursing officer."
Oh no.
And she came along and said, Valsalva, and they got me to about 4 times, and it would blow out, but it wouldn't equalise back in. So I can't hear out of that ear, and a week's not flying.
A week?
Yeah.
The students have already done things with an air trainer that would make civilian pilots green. To master the Mackie, the flight plan includes going solo, learning aeros, passing 2 instrument tests and a navigation check. Then, only then, will the RNZAF pin wings on your chest.
Yeah, we've got 160 hours on air trainers, and so you sort of walk out of that thinking, yeah, I can fly. But one flight in a Mackie and you realise, yeah, I don't really know all that much, and I've got a lot more to learn, so yeah, you can see the learning curve approaching. It's exponential.
Cobber gets his nickname from a World War II flying ace, Cobber Kane. He was good in bursts, survived a few crashes, and was killed on landing. Stumpy was bad-mouthed by a former girlfriend. That's a long or short story, depending on who's telling it. From a small town in the Waikato, Buddy first thought he'd join the Air Force to become an astronaut. And the smallest guy on the course is Arnie, who gets his nickname from Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's hard to keep anything secret when you all sleep and wake right across the hall from each other. Morning briefings begin at 7:48 every weekday. Being late is not an option.
Breakfast.
The symbol that sets students apart is their patch. The 196 pilots course settled on their motto during survival training, and they wear it with pride.
Ant wasn't feeling the best. We hadn't eaten for a while, and Ant was crook, and so we had small stomachs but big eyes, and it was all going down except Ant, who was sitting there looking green, just looking at this food going, I really want to eat it, but he just couldn't. And I just looked off and looked at him and said, come on, Ant, you know, for God's sake, just ride the lightning. If you eat it and you throw up, who cares, you throw up, but if you eat it and you don't throw up, well, you're just so much the better. And everyone just stared down the table at me and sort of said, ride the lightning? No, what the hell is that?
Okay, so in the circuit there's a lot to remember.
Each flight is called a sortie. They all start with a briefing where students and instructors discuss flight plans and flying techniques. One of the skills that often trips up a rookie pilot is flying circuits. That's approaching, circling and landing on the runway at Ohakea. They've already done hundreds, just not nearly this fast. And with 3 squadrons and 3 different types of aircraft using the same tarmac, it's easy to get in someone's way if you get it wrong. There's also an underlying competition. The students can choose their final postings, but only the top pilot is likely to get their first pick. Buddy is one of 5 who want to join the strike squadron. At best, there will be 2 places.
I'm not worrying about it too much at the moment. I mean, if I just feel that I've done my best, there may only be 2 places or whatever, but by then it may have changed to 1. So I'm just planning for 1, hope for more.
It's really hard, like you get sortie reports, but it's all, you don't know where you are in relation to the other course members. And although you're not really in direct competition with them, you know, it doesn't feel like it at the time. In the end, it's, you know, who's the best or get to have their choice of where they go.
I don't think anyone could claim to be performing anywhere near a state where they could say, yeah, I'm going to fly jets. No. At least for me. I don't feel anywhere near there. I just want to pass at this stage.
They come up to me and say, oh, we know why you want to go to strike. And that sort of annoys me a bit because that's not why I want to do it. I mean, there's female nuts all over the world. It's just that New Zealand hasn't got one.
I've had a few thoughts. I've sort of been looking at what the guys on 14 do as far as a strike role and stuff like that. But other than that, no, not really. I'm still keen to sort of look at helicopters, so I'm not sure. I'll wait till the end of the day.
That sort of really clinched it for me right in the hook at 250 feet and over Wanaka and all through the Alps and that, just saying, oh, this is where I want to be.
Regardless of aspirations, the students have had their only free ride and need to focus first on the main task, winning their Air Force wings. It will rank amongst the most intense periods in their lives. At least 2 of them aren't going to make it.
Not me, but he was right. I couldn't believe it.
I have to keep reminding myself that flying is fun because a lot of the times you're in the air and it's not fun. It's just not. And you're thinking constantly. Your mind's racing around. You know, running fast. 10 times faster than your body can perform. And you come down from a flight quite exhausted quite often, and you have to keep telling yourself, oh, this is enjoyable, and it's just at the moment I'm finding it difficult.
I've really struggled on the air trainer. But again, the Mackie's a completely different aircraft. There's been a lot of people before who've struggled on the air trainer and excelled on the Mackie, or vice versa. I want to get through it. I set myself little goals, get solo, then work from there.
You really just have to take it day by day and keep trying to do the best you can in each flight. There's no other way to look at it really. You can't really plan too far ahead in the future because you're too busy each evening trying to prepare for the next flight.
The instructor say if you've got a gap in the aircraft where you're not doing anything and you're not thinking about anything, then there's something wrong. You should be thinking, right, what's coming up next? What can you give me here? I should be doing something, I should be thinking about something. So you're always trying to stay ahead of the aircraft, not only concentrating on what you're doing, but getting ready for what's coming up next.
The Mackie cockpit is cramped. You can't move your elbows, the canopy's right in your face, the oxygen mask covers your nose and mouth, and it's hot. There's hardly enough room to think, and several of the students complain of air sickness.
You would expect that they wouldn't get airsick when coming across from the air trainer since they're doing a lot of aerobatics there. But the problem is, with a face mask on, they get claustrophobic. The cockpit's smaller, and they feel quite uncomfortable in there.
The first really bad bout of air sickness I had, we were in cloud. Really hard to get visual cues from that. So my inner ear and my brain were having real conflicts. And as well as the extra G that I'm not used to at all.
They say some people just get used to it straight away and some people take quite a while. You feel really, you're panicking anyway with what you're doing and you feel like you're really sort of caught, you're trapped. And like we were coming into the circuit and I was feeling that crook and just wanted to get out of the aircraft so fast. So I was thinking to myself, oh, I just want to eject now, bloody, let's just get out of this thing.
The workload won't let up from now on, and nausea won't help you pass any tests. For all pilots from the beginning, sights are set on a very personal target. Their first solo flight is next week. Students get just 8 flights to reach the required standard. Not long at all to prove you're capable of handling the jet on your own.
Roll and then forget.
After each flight comes the debrief, which highlights skills that need work. Jimmy is giving Q the goods on his wing overs.
Yeah, well, pitching was fine. What you weren't doing is overbanking to get the nose down, then underbanking. Okay. You were pitching, arriving, and going, ugh. But you were going to.
Even in their spare time, students live, eat, and breathe flying. The 196 pilots are young, even by military standards. Most of them signed on straight from school.
Arnie's 19, was 17 when he first started. He's been flying since he's 14. If you've had the training and you've had the experience and you've set yourself standards, or the Air Force has set yourself standards and you've attained those standards, then I don't see how the fact that I'm 20 should have an impact on that. The instructor sitting in the back going, "You're scamping, Stumpy, what's going on?" And I was like, "What the hell does that mean?" And he said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll talk about it on the ground." And he said, first point in the debrief was he pulled out the dictionary, and to scamp was to run or skip playfully, excitedly, and impulsively. And then he said it was the first time he felt like I was actually taking control of the jet and really enjoying what I was doing, and it was all happening for me.
How did you feel?
On fire. I was really on fire. It was just awesome fun. Just didn't want the flight to end. Everything was just happening, and it was the first time I'd actually really fully enjoyed the jet.
One of the most effective teaching tools is the Mackie simulator. Not unlike the world's largest computer game, the sim is a real cockpit hardwired into a virtual world. It handles like the jet without burning thousands of dollars of fuel, and has good models of the airfields the students use most: Palmerston North, Ohakea Base and Wanganui. Although it's early days, Arnie's getting overloaded during routine procedures, and it's starting to worry his instructor.
Because you obviously had a doubt in your mind, but you didn't check it properly, and once again we did the nice big rotation on takeoff, so we won't get caught doing that again, will we?
Brake failure?
Second time we've had this, exactly the same. I just did it again to see if you pick
Your
it up.
instructor can decide to fail you on any single flight, especially for repeating the same mistakes. Excuses aren't going to help, and Arnie is the first of the group to be given a reflight for this phase of the course.
Right brake, the same thing. And it's, even though it could have been nose wheel steering, I imagine it must have been, it still seemed to me that it was slowing down as well.
Remember, if you're in doubt with the braking, take the nose wheel steering off, because it'll mask it. Like, it only takes a slight amount of right rudder and it's going to override what the brake's doing for you. So if you're in any doubt, and like every time you were stopping, you kept on saying, even when you're lining up, every time I stop, I go to the left. Well, it's because you had no right brake.
I tried it again and I thought it still seemed to be...
Yeah, because you had all sorts of problems lining up straight, didn't you? Yeah.
Last week, started to get a bit behind it in some of the things, like we'd do circuits, we'd only do a couple, and I wouldn't quite have the hang of it, and then we'd move on to the next flight and do the next one up and do a more advanced circuit. So, and eventually it just got to the stage where I wasn't keeping up with it, so the instructor's given me a reflight for that, so I'll do it again, get some more practice to catch up and then move on from there.
The busiest bit of the circuit is the downwind and the base turn, which is the bit where you have to configure the aircraft, you have to get the speeds and everything adjusted, you have to fly set speeds, set powers, and adjust everything to get onto finals to land the aircraft. So it's very, very complex, and really it's just the busiest bit. And if you start losing one thing, you'll lose more, and if you concentrate on one thing, you'll lose the rest, and you have to have everything right, otherwise it's just an unstable platform to land from, really.
And the trainer had comparatively a lot more time to think through what you're going to be doing next, what you have to get done, checks, how you're going to do whatever's coming up next. And in the circuit here in the jets, you're flying half the amount again on for speed. So you're a lot faster, so you're doing everything a lot quicker. You don't have time, if you miss something out, you don't have the time to stop and think about it. You've got to keep moving.
It's up to Arnie, really. If he gets the right preparation in, thinks about what he's doing, prepares well in advance, yeah, sure, but if he doesn't put the effort in, then capacity is something that we can't really help with.
It's time for the students to take charge. And you've got to be apprehensive when you're accountable for $8 million of Her Majesty's very expensive jet.
At this stage, I don't feel too confident about taking the jet out and bringing it back safely. Especially considering we had an exercise lesson last week, and they were talking about flame outs, engine failures out in the area, and if we can't make what they call a high key position, which is 2,700 feet, being the threshold of the runway, if we can't recover the aircraft back to that point, then we are to eject. And it's like, and he said on your first solo we take it's a calculated risk that if there's ever a problem, chances are we'll be throwing the jet away and you'll be ejecting. And we're all sitting there going, yeah, that's pretty severe.
For the solo, I'll get you to write up what you're going to do. If in doubt, you know what to do. Go round, question ATC if you're unsure, be conservative, and keep your eyes and ears out.
Yep.
Don't take anything for granted.
It's a big time for the instructors. They've got to put their hand on their heart and say, will this boy or girl come back safely?
Don't have anyone there to tell you if you're doing it all wrong, if you're about to make some stupid mistake or something, but yeah, you should be able to grip it.
But no, it's going to be different once I get out there, because now it's just sort of going through emotions, get out to the end. But once I actually take off and start yabba 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 yabba, oh, there's no one in the back talking back to me, so that's when it gets you.
So yeah, as soon as you sign that book, it's sort of like, yeah, I got a jet with me for the next hour, but then it's sort of, right, it's your responsibility, so.
After less than 10 hours flying the Mackie, going solo is an individual achievement. First out on the flight line, Megan gets a groundie to record the proud moment on film.
Without the mask?
Yeah, we're going to get a bit of sun off the canopy there.
There's no instructor in the rear seat, but he'll be watching from the control tower in case there's a problem.
Often if no one in the back seat, they have more capacity to do things because they're not worried about what the instructor wants from them. Yeah. So they normally enjoy it and find they have a lot more capability available to them.
264 ready.
264, clear for takeoff.
264. Alright. I've been deputy fuel and officer got it in, no worries, of course.
The cockpit video records what Megan's seeing and everything she says to air traffic control, or herself. Thinking out loud is not only a good way of remembering checks, it helps the instructor later to figure out what went wrong.
Those are really fine brakes. Yeah. Right, I've been deputy fuel and officer good. Here's that lights off, flips. I've been indicator, hatch covered.
Megan's initial excitement turns to surprise, then frustration 12 minutes into her first solo flight.
Fucking hell. Control 2-64, complete Hurricane, returning a half to forward cockpit.
2-64, roger. Advise your intentions.
A piece has fallen off one of the cockpit instruments, and that's a major hazard. Among other things, it can jam the control column, damage an instrument, or get caught in the ejector seat.
91022, 2-64.
2-64, affirm, and do you wish to declare an emergency?
Negative, 2-64.
Right.
Okay, right. Yeah, no, she's right.
2-64, base gear down.
2-64, cleared land.
2-64. Have a clearance from rescue, gears on 3 greens.
Falcon 77, cleared overshoot the traffic ahead landing.
1150, flick land. It's good. Sweet
landing.
Well, it was winding the clock up and the little knob just fell off and went flying down to the bottom of the cockpit, so I couldn't find it and I didn't catch it, so that means coming home early, which is a pain.
Did they find the piece from the clock?
Yeah, they found it straight away. It ended up, it was down underneath the pin, or right underneath there. Such a pain. Fucking hell.
What was that for?
You let it out, girl.
What were you doing there?
I was just being pissed off. It's so dumb.
Next to make the solitary journey out to the flight line is Ant. The objective is to work on simple skills, including landing procedures. Flying circus often calls for a missed approach, that is, lining up on the runway as if you're going to land, descending to a certain height before hitting the throttle and flying away. It's a routine Ant has flown many times before, but never alone in the Mackie.
2-76, base gear down. 276, runway occupied, cleared overshoot. Cleared overshoot, 2-76.
So far, so good. But he's about to wind up in a world of hurt.
Falcon 76, landing via wide base.
Ant's gone full throttle with the flaps and wheels down.
And 276, ups normal. 276, flap and gear over speed. Roger. Roger that one. Fuck! Completely fucked, Anthony.
I couldn't work out why the aircraft couldn't get up to speed. I was trying to get up to 250 knots and it was struggling to stay around 240. So I thought, well, what's wrong here? I checked the speed brake, which is one of our drag device, and that was up, but the flap gauge is right next to it. When I looked at that and the flaps were at takeoff, I realised, well, that's it. I'm in trouble here.
His flying's quite good. His hands and feet are good. The only problem I have is, his bubble. Basically, it bursts, and when it bursts, his SA or situational awareness sort of break down quite rapidly for no apparent reason. And that'll start coming out now when we get into the IF phase, start giving him more emergencies. He has to start handling those sort of things and keep flying. And this is just a classic Ant mistake.
Ant's error is something like doing 100 kilometres an hour with the handbrake on. He's created a lot of extra work for the ground crew. 16 hours are spent checking the undercarriage and wing flaps for stress fractures. Ant has frightened himself, his instructor, and messed up the flying program.
Deal with this afternoon is got cleared solo,
good solo standard, walk into the line hut, and had had a wee accident with the aircraft and oversped everything. So I not enough jets, so I got canned off the program again.
Overall, I really stuffed a whole lot of people around just through a stupid mistake.
Initially, I was like really pissed off, and I walked in here, and he was the only one in here writing up his flight safety event report. So I told him he owed me a beer, and he apologised, and so I sat down, he showed me his HUD tape, told me about it, and yeah, we just had a yarn, no big drama.
When Stumpy does get airborne, the drama is caused by a fellow traveller. Hitting a bird in the Mackie can easily destroy your engine, and no power means one thing: ejecting.
Almost sucked the bird upwind. Oh. You'll get a good shot on this, man. Oh, I've never been so scared.
Check it in, man, check it in.
My heart is like this. Went round off the next circuit, climbing out upwind. Is that a plane? No, it's not an aircraft. Hang on, that's a bird. That's a bird! Boom! 150 knots, 45 degrees angle of bank, and this bird, mate, was as big as you in my screen.
Oh, no.
No shit, and I just went, and I went, whoa! So I went round and landed. I thought, punching out, man.
That's
Can't handle this anymore. So,
It's not a good feeling.
No, it wasn't. It was very uncool. Probably won't see it.
Oh,
Yeah, it was quite fucking mayday.
Oh, mate.
Fucking hell, Jesus.
20 minutes, 20 minutes later.
Yeah, check the wing. Doesn't appear to be any blood or shit or anything. So fly the aircraft, Stumpy, fly the aircraft.
Oh, you sorting yourself out. It's definitely a rush. There's certain points when you sort of, you know, take time, take stock and think, yeah, this is really cool, right back to what I'm doing. But all going well until I almost hit that bird, which was a definite heart flutter. Looking back and hearing some of the war stories from the instructors in the bars, it was no big deal at all. But at the time, it was huge for me.
Welcome to solo night for the advanced Mackie course. It's been a busy couple of weeks for these guys, and given their instructors a few grey hairs, but they've all achieved something.
Tradition dies hard in the military, even for students who don't like beer.
Ant's got a lot to talk about with the Mackie test pilots when they come out, because he's achieved a record gear and flap overstress for the Mackie, 240 knots, which goes down in the record books. Next up, we've got Megan. First solo, she brought the aircraft back with a broken clock and managed to squeeze an extra hour out of the company for that one. Arnie started the aircraft up and sat there waiting in the aircraft to go. Didn't realise that he had to give the marshal a thumbs up. Thought it was the other way round. Okay, buddy, his first PFL, 180 degrees out to the active runway. So good effort, but going the wrong way. Okay, Chappie's up next. He's been the grey man of the course, but it must have been going pretty well, Chappie, because you've had a clean slate. Last up, we've got Q, always behind his instructor. The next thing you'll have achieved your aim, Q, when you get your instructor to do the walk round for you.
It takes an instructor to demonstrate the correct technique. Blunder in his first solo. Ant's next sortie also goes badly.
Fantastic. It was the trying not to overflare like I've been doing in every other glide, and oh shit, we're going to hit the ground really hard.
Although it was a routine sortie, not a test, Ant can still be failed, which is like getting demerit points. They clock up until your licence is revoked.
My last 11 flights on the trainer were all chop flights. If I failed any one of them, I didn't have any more lives left. And so it was hard work, but I've got here and it's well worth it now. It's been some big struggles.
Well, I can't afford to give him the benefit of the doubt, given the last solo where he oversped everything. And he was setting himself up for the same thing today.
Okay, well, if you think it's a fail, we definitely need to give him a refly on that one. We might as well get the paper and put the paper trail in action now anyway.
I worry about the fact that I've obviously shown now that I can let myself down, so I've got to not let it happen again. I mean, if I worried about it, then I'd work myself into a state, and I certainly wouldn't pass the course at all if I let myself get worked up like that. But so I've just got to switch on. I mean, it'd be very easy for me to start thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough.
The first test flight is fast approaching, and back in the simulator, Megan begins to practice a new set of skills. Stage 2 is IF, or instrument flying. They're techniques for operating in cloud with no view of the ground below, or the mountain range that may be in front of you. This is one of the phases that rookie pilots hate, and it leads to the first and biggest exam, the dreaded Instrument Progress Test, the IPT. If anyone's going to fail the course, it's usually on that test. If you ace the IPT, you're cleared to fly solo through cloud. If you fail the IPT, it can easily spell a very short career in the Air Force.
Okay. Alrighty, so just make sure you're using the VVI, not the altimeter. Alrighty? Okay. Do you have control? I have control, yeah.
We have a blind flying hood that's pinned up with suckers that stick to the canopy, so you can't see outside through the cockpit. You're concentrating fully on the instruments inside. It's a different kind of flying. In GH, you're working on aerobatics and hands-on coordination type stuff. In IF, it's all about thinking ahead and organising yourself, getting checks and briefs out of the way.
This full-on week of check rides starts with Arnie. His own instructor, Whitey, will be assessing all of these tests.
Okay, grab a seat. Okay, IPT, I've got a profile written up here which you can copy down at the end. What I'm looking here today for is safe handling in the cloud. I'm not too, well, when I say I'm not worried, if you're inaccurate, power setting's a little bit out, or your speed is 10 knots fast, that's not good, but we can live with it. It's when you break clearances, bust through radials, go through DMEs, through heights, then those are the things that'll burn you.
I had a shocker of a flight yesterday, which is pretty standard though. I don't think I've ever had a good flight before a check flight. Don't know why, it just always works that way. So hopefully it'll go well today.
Instrument flying is a technical skill designed for just this kind of weather. Flying blind, you rely on air traffic controllers to tell you what to do, while beacons on the ground tell you where you are. Controlled airspace is filled with invisible corridors between aircraft flying around in the cloud, so all instructions must be followed correctly. The IPT is a truly critical check flight. Get it wrong, and you have only one more chance, the chop flight. And while flying skills are being examined, the Air Force is assessing the pilot's character as well.
I've interviewed Arnie about his personal qualities and said that I believe that he's got the qualities that we require, we just got to bring them out.
Target control, Falcon 77, 900 feet, climbing 5,000.
Falcon 77, identified, climbing 5,000 feet.
Falcon 77.
Once you're in the air, the instructor will stay silent until something goes wrong. Shortly after takeoff, Arnie fails to follow an instruction from the control tower.
Okay, so what was our clearance? 2 on windy beam. Correct, and we had to set heading within what distance? 2 miles. 2 miles. We probably need that dialed up off control. Yeah, possible.
Despite missing the turn, Arnie is happy with his overall performance and believes he's made the grade.
Overall it was pretty much average, but it was a good improvement on yesterday, so I'm happy with it. Glad to be through it, but I haven't had the official word yet, so I'll wait until after the debrief, but yeah, it's good. Next solo I'll be able to find a cloud and fly through it, because I can.
Like you did a departure brief, and you said if your TACAN fails, you go for the VOR, but we weren't even using the TACAN. If we'd gone for the VOR, it was set up to Moinui anyway.
Yeah.
So that won't work, A. So when you do a departure, you have to have the aids for the airfield you're leaving in case you do have a problem. And B, the clearance was conditional that we had to set heading within 2 miles. He said...
I thought it was 310, didn't set 360 radio,
yeah,
but
you can't think, obviously, can you? You've got to... So those two things there concern me a bit, bearing in mind that couple of the critical objectives of IPT are departure procedures. There's one. We did 2 departures, both of which were dodge. So I'm just thinking about it at the moment. I might go and confer with someone and see how that pans out. Okay, basically I've been talking to COPDS, and based on what they are, clearance problems like they're exactly the same sort of things as what you could have IPT. Like if you're in cloud at 2,000 feet, they clear you onto a radial and you get a heading clearance and you do exactly the same thing, then you're going to be in the shit. Same as the first one, conditional clearances, you can't just ignore them.
First time I've seen it. We haven't had it up till now.
But we can't fly every single scenario with you. Okay. So because of that, we'll have to refly this one, which will mean that you'll go have 2 more sorties practice this week and then another check ride. So don't, buddy, throw it all away or anything, but in the long run, hopefully it'll help you out anyway. I wouldn't recommend doing anything right now. Just go and, buddy, relax. Okay?
Pisses you off. So 2 small mistakes. I thought that didn't seem to be a big problem. It means another 3 flights of approaches when my approaches have been fine. Okay. And so just departure procedures, which you only do once on each flight anyway, which seems a bit random to be reflying on it.
From here, you fail the IPT, you get 2 practice rides or 2 rides in order to sort out the problems you had, and then you get 1 more ride, which is your final ride. And if you fail that, then you're recommended for suspension, which is on your bike.
Ant is the next to fly the test, knowing Arnie is now facing the terrifying prospect of a chop ride.
It had a hydraulic failure, it's been flight and no problems at all.
Some of the guys sort of thinking, well, hey, if Anthony goes out there and fails as well, then that's bad for us. Geez, what do we have to pull out of the bag to pass this thing? So, but I don't really mind that. That's fine. I've been into check flights before with a lot more pressure than this. This is sort of this isn't a chop flight for me. This is a check flight. So the pressure side of things I'm used to after the air trainers. Although you can never quite handle it as much as you'd like to, but I can get out there and just sort of block that out and just say, well, right, go out there and do the flight. I'm feeling reasonably relaxed and sort of at ease about it. So I just hope that sort of stays during the flight. Otherwise, I'll start to stress myself out and get off the rails, and it could all turn to custard.
Oh, jeez, you fucking idiot.
Ant finds the custard on his final approach into Palmerston North. He set the wrong heading and would have completely missed the runway.
Oh, I don't believe it. What an idiot.
House of Alpha up in 7-1, disregard the touch and go requirement now, vacating VFR Ohakea.
Falcon 7-1, roger, copy, declared to track direct to Ohakea, VFR 1,500 feet or below.
I did right at the end. I didn't. It wasn't like. Yeah, it was passable. Well, I don't know, but I thought it was passable till the end when I screwed the pooch. I was wondering why I was so far to the right when I rolled out. Oh, yeah, that's not good, mate. When did you realise? I don't even know. All of a sudden, I just realised that the needle was the bottom of the CDI bar was pointing the other direction, and I was just going, "What?"
How would you rate that?
After the test, Ant is being told something he already knows.
Real shocks. Yeah, there's a couple of, well, there's one in particular obvious as hell thing. And as I pointed out in the old briefing, the things that'll burn you, safety and clearance, and you know as well as I do what I'm talking about at the moment. Yeah, silly mistake that just could really burn you in the wrong place. Flying to hills and things doing that. I saw you roll out and I thought, oh, you're going to push that needle, you've got to think about the wind, and then you said, I'm outside my 5 radials, and I went, oh no, you're using the CDI. So not much I can really say about that. Just don't do it.
Disappointed in myself. I mean, you know, that's such a simple mistake. So easy to, you know, so easy to just sit there and think about what I'm doing. You know, all it would have taken was 5 seconds of thought on the inbound, you know, to do that. And I didn't. For some reason, I didn't think about it.
And didn't. A major cock up, or major blue on it, and his was easy because he knew he'd failed, I knew he'd failed.
Well, you have to go and see the psych. That's part of the failure process. Go and see the psych, you know, have a talk, see if there's any problems you need to work on or anything like that. I've been there a few times already.
They usually come in with a bit more of a bent down head, you know, they're usually a bit quieter. It's a bit of a shock to the system. Often they say it's the kind of kick that needs to, you know, get them going again. But really, their motivation often comes up as a big question mark. You know, am I really supposed to be here? Am I doing things? You know, am I doing things wrong? What else can I be doing wrong? I'm really useless. I can't fly. They forget they've done 80 to 100 hours, and they just think of this 1 hour that they've stuffed up on. Whereas in effect, every flight is almost a check flight because it's going to have the same consequences anyway.
If one of them was to subsequently fail, they fail the next check ride that they do. So they do the 2 remedials and fail their next check ride, i.e. the IPT again, then they'll be recommended for suspension from training, i.e. they cease being on the Wings course. And it is very quick and it's very harsh. It's when they get down, as soon as they've landed, if they failed, it stops right there. And from there on in, basically all they've worked for the last 18 months is finished. The primary thing that they're looking at in the IPT, or that Flight Lieutenant Harrison's looking at, is that you're safe. That means clearances, and that means doing the correct procedures, all right? You two already, that's happened too. So 2 up, 2 down at this stage, but what I don't want you guys to do is start thinking, oh geez, the IPT, and I'm in trouble now, and getting all stressed about it.
We're just remembering what it feels like to be stressed out and worrying about chop rides and check rides and that. Well, not chop rides, but we hope.
The last few flights I have stumbled severely. Several points which will fail me in the IPT, so I've got a lot of personal pressure on me at the moment. If you can, anyone can.
Hang on, that's a really bad thing to say.
Actually,
one of Q's old instructors helpfully labelled his gloves, but the letters are written on the wrong hands. After 2 failures in 2 days, the others are expecting Q, who's one of the better pilots, to establish a winning streak.
So what approach did you think you were doing here?
I did think I was doing the 2.5.
You did? Yeah. You just got disoriented or whatever?
Oh yeah, because of the direction I turned after, because I was at that last second because I was in the overhead, and just turned and I didn't realise which direction I was going.
You happy with where we were going then? Or was that when you were confused?
That's when I was confused.
What approach are we doing? We can get out of it and press from there if you like.
Falcon 7-1. Continue a right turn to intercept the arc heading northbound.
Currently in the right-hand turn to intercept the arc heading north, Falcon 7-1.
Well, obviously that's not a good point. I can't believe you guys keep on banging my head against the seat every time you do it. This bit here is certainly eye material, and the fuel thing doesn't help you at all because that's a critical objective as well. So yeah, we'll fail it based on those 2 things. Have you got any questions or any found pretty straightforward to you? Stupid things. Yeah, stupid things, and things that you shouldn't be doing, and it might only happen once, but it happened on the wrong flight. So I guess you get some more practice now.
Plain English, went overhead Palmerston, overhead the aid, and they changed my clearance just before I got there, and got confused of what I was meant to be doing, and wasn't actually sure where I was. Thought I had to turn right, except I was meant to turn left, and so I turned right, and that's pretty much just about an instant fail there.
Bit twisted at the moment, actually, you know. yeah, twisted is the only way I can think of it. I really want to pass and don't know what I've been given different instructions from what I've actually done. I've never done NDB at Palmerston before, or so yeah, it's just grip it at a time. That's all you can think about.
Buddy, he's never failed a check ride before, so for him, I think if he does fail it, it'll be quite traumatic, very traumatic. In fact, I'd say he'll be quite upset about it. Having said that, on the other hand, it'll be character building for him, and it'll be good if he can pick himself up from it and move on and get a good pass. He's certainly got the ability to get a very good pass in this check ride. Purely because of my fantastic instructional ability, of course.
Falcon 6 brake sector direct to Ohakea, on descent to 8,000.
Radar operators can make or break an IPT. But his flight plan included a couple of tricky clearances, so he's phoned the controllers to check them out. A new tactic and a clever one. Ant and Stumpy are sitting in, hoping to pick up some tips.
Go left, buddy, go left. Turn left, turn left, turn left. Left. Oh no, he's about to bust it.
The frustrating thing about these check rides is you can put in hours and hours and hours of labour. You can know everything. You can know all the instrument procedures backwards, and there's still going to be that one thing that you do that screws everything up for you, or that makes causes you to fail.
Falcon 6-4, descend to 6,000, and do you require a hold at Palmerston?
Have you been listening to his whole sortie?
Yeah, he's been doing really well. They've been giving him
The phone call obviously worked, but he's getting user-friendly instructions.
Clear out of here to come back for the long finals over here, and just as he was turning there, he got given his Mr. Approach instructions and everything like that, so had like a year to grip it up and stuff like that.
Good.
So we're well, buddy.
Wait till the instructors go. It was fantastic. Did a few stuff-ups here and there, but geez. Shouldn't bust in MDAs or almost get myself killed. Yeah.
You got the nicest controller, mate. She was just sitting there. She was like, "Oh, will this be good for him?" Yeah. Oh, that'll be good. That'll be good.
Biscuits to her. What's in it? I'll get it like later. Biscuits. I was on the phone just to bring up the supervisor going, "Look, I got to get a VI DME. 2.5. Look, how are you going to get me onto the arc? Because there's no arc initially around here. How are you going to get me on there?" And he said, "Oh, right, we can do this and do this, and then, but right, I've got a tech hand after that. So how are you going to do that?" He said, "Right, well, I'll get you straight on or long finals." I said, "Right, just nudge your control, say long finals." He said, "You'll have to request that, but I'll put in a word."
Okay, got heading 180 to the south and got cleared heading through the 14-mile arc to join from the inside. And I thought, please don't cock this up. And you didn't, and that was really good. So that's a reasonably tricky clearance, but you obviously knew what she meant, and that was pretty happy with that. Okay, Victor's long way for the low tack, which gave you plenty of time. You paying air traffic, were you?
Inside info, long final sounded good.
Yeah. Okay, so again, inaccuracies, but you had shitloads of time to sort everything out, and she even told you when to slow down, which was nice of her, wasn't it?
Well, that was she was done.
She said reduce your approach speed now, didn't
she? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, which happened to work out quite well. Never mind. Questions?
None at present, sir, no.
On.
Cool. Thanks, sir.
I did wake up early and start thinking about it. I'm quite nervous, but I think that'll all go away once the canopy closes.
Currently track 7.5 miles to the north of the NDB. Our control.
Yet again, Whitey is forced to take over, with the aircraft tracking away from the airfield. Megan's taking a reading from a beacon back at Ohakea. She should have tuned it to Palmerston North.
Yeah, because I've just dialed up Palmy there. Yeah, I think we probably could go home.
What's the story, Megan?
Megan knows it means a chop flight for her next week.
Out of there.
You can't see the NDB on the HUD, unfortunately, but we're now going down to 4 grand, and we're at 3 miles, and this is when I went scared. Listen up, wrong aid.
Can't watch.
Because obviously we're heading for the hills. Yeah, so obviously pretty untidy. Low tack, yeah, she wasn't being very helpful to you. Obviously didn't provide any chocolate biscuits. Because she didn't give you the arc clearance, you had to ask her for that. And then she didn't even give you an approach clearance. So I'm not going to ping you for that because she was making it way too hard. Alright?
Okay.
Forget about it for the rest of the day, I'd suggest. You've got all weekend to think about it. Okay?
Good. Thank you. Oh, just really pissed off. Can't be bothered doing remedials and resitting and all that kind of stuff. Just want to get on with it. But these things happen.
Pissed off at whom?
At me. No one else's fault except my own. I won't do that again.
Feeling pretty confident. I know I can do it, so I've just got to go out there and prove to the instructor that I've got the ability to do it and don't make any stupid mistakes. So it's a matter of concentrating the whole time.
So far, the IPT week has been a disaster. 5 students have flown and only 1 has passed. But thinking about the failure rate is not going to be good mental preparation. Cobber's drowning the negativity with noise. One of the study aids works. Cobber pulls down the top score for the test.
Yeah, good solid stuff. A+, just some silly things let you down like steep turns and some of your tracking and stuff. But in general, it's all good. Questions?
No, sir.
1 more down.
Oh, well, I am. I'm really happy. You can tell by my manner around here that I'm really happy, but I mean, it's 1 out of many, so I can't be too overjoyed about it because obviously I've still got a long way to go. So just say, yep, I passed it, put it behind you and say, what's next?
I went back to the mess, had 2 hours sleep. It's probably the best prep I could do. I was pretty shattered. The last approach, Sleety just said, no, you're knackered, you've had it. Take a Kit Kat and I'll fly this approach. So that's what we did. I was just sitting back going, nah, I'm half asleep already. So yeah, I got some rest and had some lunch. Now I'm all amped up, ready to go.
Okay, up control. Falcon 6-4, roger, request intercoastal low flying area for 2 minutes en route to Ohakea.
Falcon 6-4, check. Clear coastal low flying area number 1.
Number 1, 6-4.
After the test, a hair-raising blast through the low-flying area is a good indication that things have gone well.
It's been a long week for me. You're the easy part. Oh, crap. Get some. I really wanted to be knocked in this here. No way. You've got to use these toy toilet with me. Oh, you good.
Yeah, it's a pass. Said it was a bit ragged, but no safety errors, so and you can always polish it up later on. Heaps of time to practice. But yeah, it was a safe pass. Woo! Pressure's off. Well, there's only one thing for it. The bar.
G'day Ma, how's it going? Good, good. Oh, I am very happy. We had a check flight today. Yeah. I passed. Yeah. It's especially good. There's 4 other guys that sat it early this week and they didn't do so good, unfortunately. Yeah. So I was the last one to go, sitting here thinking, oh my god. So yeah, but I passed.
There he is. Well done, mate.
Cheers.
Fucking beauty. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Ragged, but we're there.
Oh, that's outstanding, man.
Yeah.
That's bloody good.
Yeah, I was happy. Didn't do anything stupid.
You've made my week.
Have I?
Yeah, you've made
Like Buddy and Copper, Stumpy can leave the IPT behind and focus on the second half of his jet training. For the others, next week's chop flights are like the edge of the abyss.
Chop flight is, well, it's a make or break day time flight. If they do well on it, you move on to the next hurdle. If they don't do well, no more hurdles.
I failed my nav check on the air trainer and the world was coming to an end. It was bad, but I mean, I knew I shouldn't have passed it, so I knew what I could improve on and what I had to work for. So, but having a chop ride is scary. It's bad.
Just have a bad day. Well, that's 2 bad days in a row, and that's it. It's over. Pack your bags, go home. So yeah, it's a bit more pressure, but if you can't let the pressure get to you, otherwise you'll end up bugering up anyway.
Nervous, of course, and at the same time you've got to try and avoid being nervous as much as possible, because it's your last chance. You fail a reset, then that's it. You're removed from training.
At the moment, after today's flight, I really don't you know, hold too much hope for tomorrow if I fly like I did today.
Do you want to do it again, or do you just want to track? Because it's not put you too bad. It means that you
Ant and Q begin the new week with long hours in the sim. They're practicing skills that trip them up on the toughest test in the jet phase, the instrument progress test. They get one more shot.
just grip it up.
Meanwhile, the 3 who have passed the IPT launch into the next 12 weeks, including 1 new subject and 4 more check rides. No one can rely on luck. It's time to ride the lightning.
You're not checking to see if you're lucky or not and things. They're checking to see if you're safe, and so you have to prove that to them. So if you bugger up, maybe it was your unlucky day, I suppose, that you managed to stuff it up on that one day. But if you're out there solo doing it, you can't be having an unlucky day sort of thing, otherwise it might kill you.
Yeah, you still have a bit.
Q was the first to make the long, lonely trek out to the flight line. It's the same nerve-wracking walk that 4 of the 196 pilots make this week. Before beginning the jet phase, Q set his sights on the transport squadron. He wants to fly the mighty Hercules. The giant Herc takes off on a routine flight while he's running his checks. It seems like a good omen. Whitey is looking for any major safety errors. Q failed instantly on his first test when he turned right instead of left. He needs to stick to all clearances from air traffic control. The 1-hour, 12-minute flight is a whirlwind of procedures and checks he can't afford to fail, or it will end his career.
Sort of asked him when we were taxiing back in, asked, sir, do I get to fly a jet tomorrow? Had a bit of a laugh and said, yep, so yeah, I'm stoked.
You bastard!
Pass, mate. Oh, no. Alright, pretty nice one, mate. Oh, nice one. Oh,
Relief, eh?
Tell me about it.
So the 3 things that I had there was the MDA that you know, by the skin in your scrotum that you survive by, and the radio juggling stuff. Try not to get too carried away because it just cocks you up if you're busy. And the other one was just that 15.4 miles. So, yep, nothing stupid, overly, or there's a couple of stupid things, but nothing overly stupid that's going to result in safety problems. So, on. Throw the hood away.
Megan's one of the best pilots on the course. She failed her IPT by simply dialing up the wrong radio frequency. But she can't afford to beat herself up about it. Another basic error will end her dreams of becoming a fighter pilot.
Go.
He told me just coming back from Wanganui. Why couldn't you do that the first time?
She is not. Megan's success makes 2 passes from 2 reflights. She can relax while Ant and Arnie still have sleepless nights ahead of them.
Thinking about packing my bags ready to go home tonight, but no, I knew I could do it. I just didn't want to make one of those stupid mistakes again.
Got some paperwork for you to fill out.
Excellent.
Cheers. Well, they're not going to shoot. Oh, I guess they are. Ben is 3 days no rest. 3 days no rest. Right. Yep, so as I said, why didn't you do it the first time? Questions?
None.
Pretty straightforward, really, when you do it properly.
The night before his reflight, and Ant is leaving no detail to chance. Reordering and marking all his approach maps for different airfields makes them easier to find in his knee board and helps keep his mind off what's at stake.
Well, if it goes badly tomorrow, I don't know. That's something I'll think about once it happens. I mean, it'd be huge. I'd just be gutted. But, yeah, I think I'll have to wait till tomorrow to deal with that. It's something I don't want to sort of... I mean, I've thought about it a couple of times in the last sort of couple of days, and every time it sort of starts to dwell on my mind, I think, no, forget that. Let's just deal with the positive side.
Ant had so many chop flights on the air trainer, he's more accustomed to the pressure than some of his course mates. And at 22, he's a couple of years older. But he's only just hanging on to the learning curve and really needs to get everything right to stay in the pilot training program.
Yeah, when we were at Wanganui? Yeah. The fucking ADF failed?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, that wasn't cool, so it meant it cut it short. But, so I don't know. We went out there, the army was okay, but there was some general crap intermingled with some spots of brilliance. So.
How'd it go?
Don't know, mate. Don't know. I'm reasonably confident there was some outbreak of smoke. Yeah. I'm getting more confident as time goes on thinking about it. But still wait and see. Okay. Well, we basically know what the outcome of that is based on what happened.
While Ant's in the debrief, Arnie has time to reflect on what's at stake on his own chop flight. He's last in line to fly.
Oh, just a second.
Sit GH, you almost turn left. Yeah, onto that arc. Yeah. So anyway, we turned right, got blown out to 12.7 in the wind there, and while we're trying to recover it, we found the 020 radial, so we never got quite onto that arc.
Even more than his course mates, Arnie's dream since childhood rides on his shoulder for this chop flight. He's always wanted to be a nuck.
Coordination exercise, partial panel, that's pretty ragged still, the speed control. Every climb we did, we're back to 220 knots, and in one of the descents still 220, and that's, you know, you should be able to do better than that. got the aid failure approaching the overhead, and it was for real. Like I said, it's not me.
Yeah.
And basically their actions were correct. Their turn, stay in the hold, contact control, and get out of there. So yeah, to pass, big improvement on what we did the other day, and no huge blunders, although I saw you having a crack at it on the Sid. Quite keen to do something wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my. Yep. Oh, that feels so good to pass that.
Nice one, mate. Oh, that's some extra hours in the logbook. Same as the first time. Same as me,
I can't imagine it, but I'll get back to that one.
Oh, my heart's still racing, man. Still.
Yeah, you passed.
Shaking.
Yeah. He's just doing a bloody song and dance in the upstairs right now as we speak. Yeah. Roger. How you doing, bud?
Is that good enough cover, you know? Grading on a scale of 1 to 10?
No, nothing on the desk.
If Arnie doesn't follow set procedures or deal quickly with a change in routine, the margin for safety is Whitey's responsibility. He'll interrupt the sortie if he has to.
We're on instrument approach with the Ohakea control going to Palmerston North for a approach and overshoot, basically missed approach. We normally change to Palmerston Tower at about 10 miles. Control didn't tell us, as they normally do, but that doesn't mean we don't do it. It's on our heads as well. We're responsible for the aircraft to then decide who we have to talk to. I let Arnie push in there on the approach. We were down to about 600 feet AGL above the ground, heading in there towards their runway, still no call to Palmerston, and I let it go into 2 miles, at which point I took control of the radio, made a quick call to Palmerston.
Falcon 7-1, roger, report again prior to missed approach, and confirm your missed approach is to the northwest.
Falcon 7-1, missed approach currently 250, radio climbing 4,000 walk down.
And in this case it was quite important that I did that, because there was a Saab had just gotten airborne on the same clearance that we had for our missed approach. If we'd continued with our missed approach without talking to Palmy, potential was there for a near miss or a problem with that Saab on climb out. So if I hadn't taken the radio, it could have been quite ugly.
Falcon 7-1, negative, not available at this stage. Continue for the right-hand traffic circuit.
And 973 at contact Wellington.
Falcon 7-1, roger, copy. Control. Copy, joining for the right-hand circuit.
Whitey takes over with the Palmerston North runway just 300 metres below the nose. He can see the Ansett passenger flight taking off, heading in the same direction.
7-1 confirming there's no traffic circuit.
Arnie immediately realises that he's up against the wall and desperately tries to explain the mistake away.
I didn't take the safety tail, sir. No, you didn't. I did that at 2 miles. I was just about to form up and ask them why they didn't instruct us to. I had the same thing yesterday. Then so you kept on going to 2 miles without asking? I was just about to ask them, sir. Right. Yeah, we were on finals in the circuit.
I've had to fail Arnie on his second instrument progress test, which is effectively, colloquially known as a chop ride, which is from this point on he's recommended for suspension. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but based on what happened today in the flight, not really my decision, it's an objective one.
Well, I knew that was the last chance I had, that everything depended on it.
Okay. Feel sorry for him, but you know, if I take it back to would I want my family travelling on the aircraft that he was flying, have the same problem? No.
I don't know. Just, probably still hasn't sunk in, really. I was expecting it by that stage in the debrief, but it doesn't make any difference.
Well, Arnie, I've just got you over here to have a brief chat about what happened on the final flight, and also just so you understand, where everything goes from here. So you're pretty happy with the reasons why you failed the IPT there. Okay, so obviously now you've run out of lives for the course. So the procedure we have to follow, the guidelines that we're given, is that you're recommended for suspension. I mean, you've got age on your side and everything at this stage. I'd just, take it easy over the next couple of weeks and have a really good think about, what you want to achieve. At this stage, you've got to take a few positives out of the whole experience as well. I know it's not easy at the moment because you've had your heart set on this goal for a long time and you've worked hard to get this far. But you've done something that a lot of people your age will never achieve, and you've got to be proud that you've gone solo on the Mackie and got this far on the course. So there are some positives to be had, and I'm sure once all the dust settles, you look back on this as being an enjoyable, positive experience, but just hasn't had the outcome at this stage that you would have hoped. You got anything else you'd like to sort of say to me as the boss? Anything at all? Okay, that's it. Thanks very much, Arnie.
Okay, sir.
For nearly 2 years, Arnie's course mates have supported his pursuit of a dream. The news is shattering.
I knew what had happened and so went back to the crew, dropped my kit off and walked in. Worst case, it's just me and Arnie by ourselves. And he's sitting there on the couch looking as you would, having had that decision come through, and I really didn't know what to say to the guy. I said, so Arnie, has there been a decision yet? And he just said, what decision? I've been chopped. And I was, yep, okay,
I just couldn't believe that he was sitting there and he said, no. I said, well, what do you mean, no? And he was like, no, it didn't pass. And I just couldn't believe it. And then I'm kind of thinking, oh my God, poor Arnie. And sort of sat down next to him and went, oh. What can you say?
But I mean, I think with time even now, we're sort of, it's set in and right, that's the situation, deal with it. Everyone has to deal with it, and I think everyone is. Move on. We're here because part of our personality is we're all strong, and Arnie's strong, and it's now time to knock on that door and pull some of that stuff out, and just move on. That's all we can do.
Yeah, for sure. I know that I'll be working a lot harder. I mean, although I have been working hard, you get to the point where you're thinking, well, this isn't so bad, and I'm doing all right now. But I mean, we've got to do what it takes to make sure we don't get in the same position that Arnie's in right now. And, whatever it takes. And I feel sorry for Arnie because, he can't now do the same thing, but if we don't, we'll just be where he is now.
He's flown the last 5 sorties, and on all of those sorties, 2 of them remedial training sorties, on all of those last 5 sorties, he's done something that would have failed an instrument test. So it's not like it's a one-off. Maybe not the same thing every time, but each time there's been something that would have burnt him.
Yeah, I knew when I got down there was a big enough thing for him to be able to fail me on it. But I wasn't sure if he would or not.
When you consider that only, statistically only half the people that have ever got onto the course get through it, then, to get this far, to get onto Mackies is just fantastic, and there's absolutely no shame in getting chopped. There's only a handful of people around New Zealand that can actually turn around and say, oh well, that person didn't do as well as I did, and everyone else can just get stuffed basically.
In terms of Arnie, yeah, I guess you're all pretty distraught about him being suspended. It's been a long time since you've lost anyone off the course, and I appreciate that, and it's going to be hard for you guys.
The 6 remaining students have all the work ahead of them. Even with the hardest test out of the way, you've got to pass 39 flights, 1 more subject and 4 major check rides before getting your wings. After being grounded for a fortnight, Megan's had her first flight since the IPT. She's having trouble clearing her ears, which is not only causing headaches, a sudden change in altitude could rupture an eardrum.
Or when you're descending, you just sort of naturally pop your ears, you know, you sort of swallow and they pop. And I was just doing that and it wasn't happening straight away. So it's sort of a bit of pressure builds up and then it goes...
At the moment, she has got 39 flights to go. She is 10 flights behind the other guys, and we've only got 33 flying days until we graduate.
Well, I mean, last week I was pretty miserable because I came back from the long weekend just expecting to fly, and I was in my Zoom bag ready to go, and then thought, hang on, I can't clear my ears, and then so went off to the doctor, and 1 week later I still haven't flown, and I was just had enough of it by then. It was just driving me crazy.
We've had her in the sim, both by herself with other students and with myself, trying to keep her skills up there with the others. Now she's, as I said, 10 flights behind all the other guys, so we've got to look at her skill level isn't going to be quite the same as the other guys.
I've had, I think, 3 courses of antibiotics and steam inhalations, blowing up balloons, yeah, all sorts of stuff. But it hasn't really made a hell of a difference yet.
If Megan is close at the end of the time, we would look at flying on the weekends. Flying on the weekends is a big deal. Not that it's just your weekend, but it means a lot of other people's weekends as well. We need to have groundies in here, we need to have the fireys in here, we have medics in here, air traffic, people at base ops, all need to be involved in that. So it doesn't just take myself, as Megan's instructing herself, but you'll need probably another 20, 25 people involved as well at the same time, just to get one aircraft airborne on a weekend sortie.
You know, with having so many people wanting to go strike, then we want to do as best we can to give ourselves the best chance to get there. And to do that, you've basically, I guess, got to be better than the others. So I have the best chance to be better than the others. The specialist said that he didn't really have a problem with me flying. It was mainly up to the doctor here on base, so he decided to let me go without doing any rapid descents or above a certain height.
While Megan starts to catch up, the other 5 reach the final test of the instrument flying section. It's another do or die effort. Make a mistake and you'll be riding the Lightning on another chop flight.
Now outside that, going
First, it's Q's turn.
A parallel entry, right-hand turn. Back!
What are we doing, Q?
I don't know, sir.
You lost the flight?
Yes.
Oh, good job. Yeah, you came in, you were obviously meant to turn left, or do a normal straight entry. We're actually on about 125.
It's a familiar demon for Q, exactly the same mistake he made on the previous instrument test. He's turned the wrong way and doesn't need to land at Ohakea to be told he's flunked this one as well.
Was going fairly well actually. I had a whole lot of different things I hadn't actually seen before, managed to cope with that, and then got the one thing that I'd probably seen before, or something that I should know anyway pretty well, and just got totally confused and turned right instead of left. My life story in this Wings course.
To everyone's surprise, not least his own, Buddy is the next to fail the IRT.
Okay, Buddy, now I understand that you've failed your IRT. I've talked to your instructors a little bit about the sortie. Do you want to go through just the generals of what actually happened, or your perception of the sortie?
Buddy has never failed a check ride before. The mistake deeply shakes his confidence. And he believes it may change his place in the race for a seat in the jet squadron.
First time I've been here.
Yeah.
Can't really feel like talking one hour. Geez.
Okay.
At the moment, I'm not too sure where I am in Godfather. This could be wish my goal career down the drain for all I know.
Okay.
So really all I need to do is get back into it. Geez, I know I can do it, so.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I certainly understand where you're coming from in terms of not wanting to be here. It's okay if you don't feel like talking. You know, not everyone does, certainly, especially after a flight like you've just had. So that's okay. What we'll go into now is maybe some strategies just in terms of prep, maybe, and for your future flights and remedials and so on. Okay, does that sound okay to go over?
Sure.
Yep.
I think I thought, right, okay, if I fail this, I'll grip it next time. But at that point, I was thinking, oh God, you know, I've had a flight and this is my first one. I don't believe I've done this. What the hell have I done? That little thing has cost me, that was 1 minute out of the hour or whatever, has cost me so much. So yeah, that really bit me.
Chop flights are always nerve-wracking, but Q and Buddy survived their brushes with fate and slipped back into the hunt for the final subject of the course, navigation.
The other track, which is just never earned more than $14,000.
Days and nights are now taken over with map work.
Great, mate.
The first trick is to keep control of the jet, 75 metres above countryside, which is passing at 10 k's a minute.
Don't be folding it.
Then, with one eye on the instruments and another eye on the map, you have to hit targets like dams, bridges and estuaries on time at a certain speed.
Hold us on. This is the origami lesson from hell, all right?
Now, make the correct turn to your next target while the instructor chucks in a random emergency or two.
Flying along. Get to sounds. I'll do the sound. You want to do the sounds? No. You do the sound.
Time estimates, power settings, radio calls, beacons, altitudes, all have to go on the map.
There we go. All right. Flying along, flying along, flying along. Now one hand on the stick.
What's your speed, for God's sake? Come on. Grip it.
But that's the easy bit. Now you have to fold it small enough to fit into the cockpit.
Still going well. The next turning point is quite hard.
Oh no, this looks like this is where it goes to cut.
Hey, it's fine. All right. Into the dam.
What's next?
Rock around. Next event is up across the lake into the low leverage point. Now you turn over and you go, oh my God, because nothing's there, so you go like this. Alright?
Oh, this looks like you're coming up to the critical turn.
Low leverage point, got all the data there, flip it over, that little bit there.
Oh, no way! No.
And then you turn it around.
You've got a map that looks like that, how you're supposed to fold it, okay? Look, this doesn't work.
If you've got 4 hands, you can fly the aircraft as well.
Okay, well, let's test your mettle then, Stumpy. Let's test your character, mate. This will be a risk. Fell for the sucker hole here. Dam, there's a dam. What, 30 seconds early? Yeah, time-based nav. You did a checkpoint here at 31:06 and what you said you were 10 seconds late. Right. And here we were, not bloody 3 minutes later.
40 seconds early.
And how can it be? Have a look behind it, this huge lake, and here there was nothing. And you just said, that it's a dam in my general area, so it must be my dam. And it totally bamboozled you, didn't it? So just watch out for that one.
Although she thought it was solved, Megan's ear problem has reappeared and reached a crisis point. She's sent to Wellington for a CAT scan. Pounding headaches are ruining her concentration in the air, and some soft tissue was found blocking her eustachian tubes. One of the options for the Air Force is to finish her training on another aircraft. Megan doesn't know it, but her ambition to become a strike pilot is in jeopardy.
Relax, you can open them again. Are you okay there? Yeah? That's great.
Back at Ohakea, the wing commander and flying instructors are meeting to decide whether to ground her.
As you know, we've been having a few ongoing problems with Megan and getting her flying, and it's all sort of come to a head at the moment, in that we've just gone past, either she flew today, or she's now past the stage where she can get through the course with only 1 joule a day.
Training a pilot through to graduation costs around $1.5 million. So the Air Force has invested too much in Megan to make a hasty decision on her future.
What's the nature of the problem?
Well, at the moment, it's a headache-related problem.
What, cold or sinus or something? Or?
Well, sinus is part of it, but that's now led on from not being able to clear her ears to developing headaches as well. What we need to find out from the specialist is whether whether this problem is going to clear up in the immediate future, whether it's just related to jet operations, so whether the Mackie has been inducing this problem, because she hasn't had any
problem on the air train up to now, has she?
That's right. And lastly, whether it's going to be an ongoing problem with the future in aviation.
The CAT scan will be forwarded to the Armed Forces Medical Unit in Auckland. A minor operation should be enough to clear the blockage.
I'd probably like to go a bit higher than
we
that,
did
because I want to show him all of the mascot air cells.
So we're going to be asking this guy to make some pretty wide-ranging decisions there, and certainly for Megan, one that's going to impact on her whole future.
If she's not flying in 2 weeks' time, then we're going to have to make another D, because she's not going to even achieve, as Dolly said, she's got an IRT to go, final handling and nav check. And to achieve nav check, she has to start flying in 2 weeks.
Okay, I think that it's important that we progress as far as we can, as quickly as we can, with a medical review to find out just what the long-term prognosis is. In the meantime, I think we just sit back and keep her on the course with a view to graduating her after the main bunch early in the new year.
I haven't been told a lot, really. I don't really know what the story is. I mean, it seems to be connected, because I get discomfort in my ears when I'm flying and come back with a headache, but then I don't know. I really don't know what's wrong.
Finally, Megan is told what's actually wrong with her ears. But that still leaves a big question over her place on the course.
Okay, some good news and what we've heard back from the specialist, and that we now have a definite answer, and we know exactly what your problem's been. You're going for the operation next week, and it's going to be reviewed on December the 15th. Is that the way you see it at the moment?
Yeah, basically just he should know on the day how it turns out,
right,
and how long I need off after that.
Okay. This year, it's unlikely that we're going to get any flying into you, being that you'll probably need another couple of consolidation flights anyway. So I think it's best we look at not flying you this year. It's going to give you a good amount of time to recover, and we'll get straight back into it at the beginning of the next year.
Okay.
So that sort of poses the question as to the future, really. So the current plan is for you to start off next year and finish the course when you can. So I don't want you to feel that because 2 of the guys have gone strike and you've heard that there's 2 positions to go strike, that's the the end of what you've been aiming for.
Oh, that's pretty much what I expected.
Okay.
It'll be good to see the guys graduate and everything, but I don't know. I don't think I'll be enjoying the parade as much as I should be. Yep.
For the next couple of months, Megan only gets to fly a desk. She's a pilot officer without her wings. After more than 60 flights and nearly 80 hours in the Mackie, Q reaches his final handling test. The last flight of the course is a check ride. You can still fail.
Loop with a half cube and 8.
Really look for you to put your best professional effort forward. Nothing that you haven't done already, okay? So there's nothing too challenging or demanding. It's just you demonstrating to me your professional standards and how good you can fly, okay? So you're there to impress. So we'll put a CLF.
At the 11th hour, Q's asked for a posting to helicopters, a real change of heart from the Hercs. Either way, this is his last ride in the Mackie. And just to make life more complicated, his final handling test is not with one of the instructors, but their boss, Wing Commander Gore. After all the pressure, this is where a true milestone is achieved by the young pilots. But to pass the FHT and to earn the right to wear the fabled Air Force wings, you first have to prove your ability to control the jet.
Don't think about anything else apart from the actual flight. Get that over and done with and then think about the rest.
The walk around the aircraft takes on an extra dimension as Wing Commander Gore, himself a strike pilot, tests Q's knowledge of jet mechanics.
How do you know what the condition the brakes are in? From on the other side. Yeah, on this side. Screw at the far end. Little plunger. Is it? Little plunger. Yeah. Right, we're jumping into it.
The final handling test is a series of general flying and aerobatics, including spins, vertical 360s, horizontal figure eights, loops, and other manoeuvres. It's a chance to show off some hard-won skills, but the pressure is on until you get to the ground and hear the magic words, "You've passed." The flying is over, but Q has two intensely emotional ceremonies left. The final acts of a pilot's training are being given your squadron posting and your wings.
Lucky bastard. Cheers, nice one. How'd it go?
Oh, yeah.
Pass is a pass is a pass on that one, mate.
Pass, you're right. It's not too bad weather up there, eh? So some of that cloud's a bit of a pain getting back in.
Oh yeah, it was over to the perfect at Wanganui.
18 months of struggle, 4 months on the jet phase, all ends one way or another on the final test.
Well done, matey.
Cheers, sir.
All over. I'll be about 15 minutes. I'll see you about 15:15.
Roger.
Jeez.
But he knows he's won his wings. Now he's hoping they'll be attached to a jet.
Oh, jeez. My goodness. Ah. Thank you, baby. She did well.
Well done, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Congratulations.
Cheers, mate. Excellent. Oh, man. You did well. You did well.
Cobber still needs to make a decision he's pondered since day one. Jets or choppers?
Well done, Tabby.
Thanks, sir.
It's all over.
Cheers.
See you in the bar. Oh, no, I'll see you at the debrief.
See you in the bar?
See you at the debrief first.
Oh, yeah, righto.
You're a bit excited there. Go for that.
You think I'll be smiling like this if I fail? Cheers, mate.
Nice one. Good on you, man.
Right, well done, dude.
Oh, I want to get into that.
Ant's been focused on a helicopter posting since he signed on. He's struggled the whole way through the Wings course and has survived more chop flights than anyone. It's rare to axe a student on their final handling test, but it has been done before today. Ant's moment of truth comes on the ground. Ant began the jet phase thinking he was first in line to be chopped. He's dragged himself out of some deep holes to get to the final handling test.
Well, Ant.
Thank you very much, sir.
Congratulations. Well
Thanks
done.
very much. That's
Well done.
excellent.
Good to get it behind, isn't it?
Certainly is.
2 years worth of hard work.
Oh, it's amazing. Man, I sort of texting back in, wasn't saying anything, just didn't want to push my luck by asking what the story was. And they asked me how I thought it went. I said, oh, yeah, it was as good as I hoped for, considering some of the flights that had led up to it. But definitely a few points to polish up on. And said, yeah, well, it's good enough for a pass. Thank you.
Means almost everything. It's great. We've put a lot of work into it, my instructors and myself, into getting all the students through. We've lost one on the way. Megan's gone US, and that was a definite setback to us. But to see the 5 go through, the boys were rapt.
This critical meeting determines where the new pilots will be posted, something they're not told until the official end of course dinner.
To not be motivated.
The students have all made helicopters, that's 3 squadron, or jets, 14 squadron, their first choice. No one has put 42 transport at the top of their wish list.
Okay, gentlemen, 5 graduates.
Remember,
graduands, I should say,
A
here
means
today,
average.
Going through alphabetical order. There are no stars in this lot, that's for sure. And bar. Background, 1 year at university before coming into the system. Pure flying, A. PQA's A as well. Very hard worker.
He's always had latent ability, but it's been his organisational skills that have let him down, such that things turn up and they're a bit of a surprise to him. But once he develops that ability, he'll actually be quite good.
I'm still really keen to go to 3. I mean, whether I get there or not is a different story. I mean, I haven't I haven't really done well enough on this course to cement myself a place wherever I want to go. So, I mean, if I get there, then that's excellent. I'll be really, really stoked.
Buddy, straight from school, pure flying. A-, PQAs, A. It's got a lot of talk, but doesn't seem to have a lot to go with it though at times. Enthusiastic to the front, but underneath we're not sure. He's still progressing, but not at the same rate as the others have. And what we're really worried about is lack of self-critique.
I've gone for jets, which, yep, when I think about it, it's the only place I really want to go. It was a very hard decision for the next two, either 42 or 3, because either one would just be fantastic.
Chappie, background, BSc in Maths and Physics, pure flying, A-, PQAs, A. Now, his underconfidence has gone right through his wings course. Initially on the Mackie, he was quite good. If we can boost his confidence, he flies reasonably well.
He topped the IPT and he passed his IRT as well, so it's more not so much the thinking as the actual doing.
During the latter part of the course, he was striving for accuracies but using the incorrect technique to achieve them, and to the detriment of the rest of his flying.
I was trying to decide between jets and helicopters. I mean, I enjoyed the jet, it was a lot of fun out there polling around and stuff, but I just wanted a bit more than, you know, just you know, pure flying excitement. I wanted, I don't know, I just felt more at home with three-strutting when I was up there.
Stumpy, background straight from school, pure flying A, PQA's A. It's a little bit cocky though. When he's going well, he's good. When he's not doing so well, he's a bit fragile.
He's quite tense or quite into what he's doing. Like, if you say something and he doesn't agree with it, just on a couple of occasions that I've had, he's tended to sort of snap back at you.
Yes.
Which is probably good for him. Put him in a cockpit by himself, he can't talk to anyone. But,
when the dust settles, he steps back and goes, okay, I might have been over the line a bit or whatever. Certainly with me.
Yeah, afterwards he says, oh, sorry, I didn't intend that. It's just his initial reaction can be a little bit abrasive sometimes.
I love the jet, and I want to do that for a job. If I don't, well, I don't think I'll be, well, initially I'll be cut up, but I think after that, I don't think I'll worry too much. I mean, it's a sort of job where you'll enjoy it anywhere, and every job has its ups and its downs, and the struggle I went through to sort of really figure out where I wanted to go was such that I know that if I don't get 14, then I'll be happy.
Q, straight from school, pure flying A, PQAs A. Boy's dependable and intuitive as well. At times they see something progressing or about to emerge, and he'll try and nip it in the bud.
He's quite one of the better brains on the course, in fact, and he picks things up very quickly and doesn't have to be retaught or anything. And he does tend to think outside the box, which is really good, unlike the other ones.
It's a very close call. I sat there the whole afternoon asking the other guys. I'd sitting there 342, 342, and probably Sweetie maybe had a bit of influence on me, but just wanted to have a go, have a bit of fun, have a bit of hands-on flying, I suppose.
What you'll do is you'll march out to 2 paces clear in front of the reviewing officer. All right? Once you're there, obviously you halt on the right foot, and then you pay compliments. So you give him a hand salute, normal hand salute, and then you take a pace forward.
For 18 months, rookie pilots dream of the graduation parade. It's the defining moment. When the wings brevet is pinned on your chest, you become one of the elite.
Officers, eyes front.
Remove
glove, was it?
Remove gloves.
They haven't practiced drill since they signed on as pilots. And if you hold a wrong heading on the parade ground, it'll be in front of a crowd and your instructor can't take control. The night of reckoning, the formal meal that officially closes the course, is called the dining in.
Almighty God, 'twas the dining in before Christmas, when all through the mess, not a creature was stirring, not even a pilot officer. Come Keen, come Bud, now Chapman and Barr, on Meads, and then Ehrlich who'd follow not far. You'll dash away off to your squadron selected. Your flying careers will take off redirected. Amen.
Potatoes mixed over the meat and carrots up by the crest, okay?
Guest of honour is renowned aviation writer Guy Clapshaw.
Your career will take you all in different directions now, which might be strike in Southeast Asia, transport all over the world, helicopters, who knows. So members of tonight's graduating course number 196, Stumpy, Hugh, Chappie, and Buddy, and Ant, there are old pilots, there are bold pilots. And if I may be so bold, I assure you there's one old pilot in this room tonight who would give parts of his body to be in your position tonight. Gentlemen, you have now won what I consider to be the best job in the world. Well done, you've deserved it. Good luck in the future. Godspeed, and Merry Christmas.
The base commander delivers the final thunderbolts.
PMC, guest of honour, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Postings for 196. Pilot Officer Bar.
Ant has always wanted 3 squadron helicopters.
3 squadron. Pilot Officer Bud.
Buddy's heart is set on jets. 14 squadron.
42 squadron. Pilot Officer Chapman.
Cobber has decided to go for helicopters. 3 squadron.
3 squadron. Pilot Officer Keane.
Stumpy chose the jet squadron. 14. The posting Buddy didn't get.
14 squadron. Pilot Officer Meads.
Q changes his choice from transport to helicopters. 3 squadron.
3 squadron.
Graduating officers! Quick! Stop! Eyes! Front! Officers will remove clubs. Remove clubs!
Pilot Officer Keane. Pilot Officer Barr. Pilot Officer Meads. Pilot Officer Budd. Pilot Officer Chapman.
And that was the last full Mackie course run by the Air Force. Only potential strike pilots will in future be trained to fly the jet. Of the students, Megan has hardly flown this year and is still reporting headaches. Arnie is studying politics and philosophy at university. Next week, romance among the Rockmelons, drama in dairy food, tension at the checkout. It's all happening in Wellington's New World supermarket.
Shoppers be warned as we take you access all areas into the secret life of the supermarket. Organised chaos. 6,000 people walk in the door.
We sell probably about 500-600 packets a week, losing about 40 cents a packet.
30,000 plastic bags trundle out.
All you do is pack.
Tuesday night, singles night.
Great people spotting place, yeah.
Tuesdays, bananas upside down. Facing upwards.
A world of its own.
It's great.
Supermarkets inside New Zealand, Tuesday, 8:30 on 3.
Join Inside New Zealand next week as we go behind the scenes in one of the country's busiest supermarkets. I'm Carol Hirschfeld. Ka kite anō.